What's going on, everybody? Listen, welcome to this special video. I'm excited, man, because I got one of my favorite students. Let me not say favorite because everybody else will get jealous, but one of my favorite students who I've been mentoring for the past couple years. And what I want to do is really today we're going to talk about something interesting and really fascinating that I feel like a lot of business owners aren't really talking about, which is the multi-channel approach. How do you get your messaging out to a multitude of different channels, not the ones that you've heard before, like just Facebook and email? Those are a part of the strategy, but I want her to dive deep in today. If you are watching this on YouTube, wherever you're watching it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you don't miss out on amazing training that we are doing. All right. So I wanted to bring on Acquania. What's going on? How you doing? How you doing? You
Hey,
good?
Justin. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. This is a much needed conversation for a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, especially creators who watch us and, on Maestro and also in the multitude of ways. Let's get into it. Let's start off with tell us who you are. I gave you a nickname, so now you got your new nickname. But tell us who you are and give us a little bit of background about you.
My name's Acquania Escarne. I'm the creator and founder of The Purpose of Money, a platform that teaches entrepreneurs and women how to build wealth $1 at a time. And I am currently a owner of an email marketing agency that helps you make money in email. But we're going to talk today about how you can use email, social media, and other ways to communicate with your audience to make money. So I'm excited because this is what I love to talk about. I love to strategize. So let's talk about it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So tell us so right now your focus is mainly email. Kind of give us a background about how did you kind of get into email, and what does success look like for people trying to email? Because, we talked about this, like every person who's probably watching this have either email lists, they know about, that they need an email list. We're in that sophistication where even if you're starting out, I need to be emailing my clients. But
Mhm.
there's also this sort of, remember, elephant in the room that I teach, this elephant in the room, which is people aren't talking about, there's so many people emailing, there's so many providers of email. Let's talk about also what can business owners do to separate themselves from everyone else.
Great question. So let's start at the beginning and how I accidentally got into this agency. Because a client of mine who I used to do blogs for, I started out as a freelance writer, launched a digital product. It was COVID, people were at home, and he launched a ebook. And back then, and even now today, an ebook is a great way to reach your audience, also show your expertise, and get some believers who will do more business with you. So he came to me and he was like, "Hey, you write really good blogs. Can you write emails too?" And I'll be fully honest. I had never written an email for anyone else before that, but I said yes. And then I proceeded to Google how do you do email campaigns and went from there. So I learned first by just looking at other people who were in the market, looking at emails that I open, I read, and also taking into consideration the client, right? Like, what's their personality? How do they talk to their audience on social, in person? And how can I translate that into email so that people get to know you and then they want to do business with you? So that's the first thing. That's still relevant today. That's how I got started, but that is still how I encourage small business owners to get started. Is definitely collect emails. That is what we call like online real estate that you own 100%, because Instagram can shut you down, Facebook can shut you down, but your email list is yours. It's an asset that you control, and it's also one that you can monetize, right? And don't have to ask anybody else, right? All you have to do is ask permission for the person who gives you the email. Can I email you sometime? And when they give you their email, they are saying yes. So That's how I got started. That's how I think everyone should get started, and know that no email list is too small, because I don't have the largest email list compared to some of my clients who are, 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs on Instagram. But I have been able to make thousands from my email list because I'm giving my audience what they want and need. So it is always been about value. And I feel like as business owners, we need to keep in mind that we should always be giving our people what they want, like things they expect to receive, things they signed up for, and things that we actually can deliver. That's really
Mm,
key too.
mm.
You don't want to just promote something in an email and then you don't do the work, or the product is crap. And in some cases, we can talk about this more later, but like, let's say you don't have a product, but you still want to monetize. That's something you can do too, because we kind of talked about affiliate marketing. But even when you do affiliate marketing, I think it's important to promote products that you like, know, and trust. Because this community that you have trust you, and when you give them crap, they're either going to run away or they're not going to trust you anymore, so that could cost you in the long run. So there's a lot of ways to approach it, but I definitely think people who think email is dead are wrong, because millions of people read emails every day, and the size of your email list doesn't matter as much as the quality of what you're giving your email providers or your email subscribers.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Talk to me nice. I like that. I like because it is so essential as we move into digital that people understand the power of email. But as we're going to transition in the conversation, which is why you want to make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you stick with this, because I want to pull some stuff out of Acquania, because Acquania has been in my program for the past couple years, and I've watched you evolve and grow and fight some things, and even talking, even vulnerable. You had certain times where you felt confused, and if you're watching
Mhm.
this, it's okay to go through overwhelm. It's okay to doubt yourself. It's okay to doubt your messaging. But that's the thing about digital that I love, absolutely love, is that you can be confused, but it doesn't, if you put something out, people are not gonna, judge you 100% unless, like you said, you're promoting crap or you don't have
Mhm.
valuable real estate. But people will forgive you in a message. That's the whole thing that I love, because back in the day, remember, even this is a part of multi-channel, is they only had direct mail, and that was the
Mm.
only way you could get customers. But if you're spending, say, a couple $1,000s on a direct mail piece, it was kind of hard to go back, but for pennies on the dollar, you could test right now. All right. So that kind of leads to the elephant in the room, which is, okay, I know I need email. And I don't, let's say I emailed a few times, I'm not really getting a lot of success. It might be a few factors. It might be
Mhm.
the messaging, but it also might be the channel, right? What can business owners do to separate themselves today? If I'm starting off, I might not be an Instagram influencer with 100,000 followers watching this.
Mhm.
I may not
Mhm.
have gotten to the point where I get millions of visitors to my website. What would you say is something that I could do to make email more effective and also make sure that my messaging hits my audience?
The first thing I would do is go within your network, because you know what they say, your network increases your net worth, right? The same could be applied to your email audience, because when we partner with like-minded or similar businesses, we can leverage their audiences to grow our audience and vice versa. So if you're someone who's literally just starting out or you don't have a huge platform, I strongly encourage you to look for similar complementary businesses that you two can collaborate on something. So, for example, if you are a physical trainer, fitness trainer, and you do virtual training sessions, right? And then you have a company that does health foods, soft drinks, or smoothies. This is a real example of one of my clients. He partnered with the Healthy Smoothie Company to promote his group classes, and they cross promoted on both email audiences, allowing people from their tribe to subscribe to his emails and allowing people on his audience to subscribe to their emails
Mhm.
and to come together in in-person events. So you don't just have to collaborate digitally, you can also collaborate in person. So what he ended up doing, in addition to growing his list, because the people who decided to subscribe to him added to his email subscribers, but when they decided to do in-person events, because they're in the same town, where he offered to teach a class, like $5 or $10 class that people could come to in person. And then after the workout, they went to the store and bought smoothies and recovery salads and all the good, yummy stuff. The two were able to, again, mix and mingle audiences. And they already knew that those were people that they normally would talk to, because these people came to a live workout and they were focused on healthy eating afterwards. So this was the perfect audience for both people. Now, that's a way to collaborate in person. You can collaborate via email, but people do this all the time where, Justin, we've even talked about like, hey, can I get space in your newsletter? You might pay someone for a mention in their newsletter or
Oh,
to
you talking
drop
about
your
that?
freebie.
Don't go,
Yeah.
don't be revealing my secret sauce that I gave you.
Listen, but that works, right?
It
Because
works. Yeah,
now I'm
no.
like, grab my free ebook inside of Justin's newsletter. Your 20,000, 40,000, 50,000 subscribers are like, Justin's cool. And if Justin says that Acquania is cool, I'm going to grab her free ebook, because what does it cost me? My email address, right? And now all of a sudden, Acquania has new subscribers because you've just opted into my ebook. Justin has happy customers because they got something free today, and it's a win-win. So
Yeah.
in the first example, there was even monetary exchange, right? Because people came to a free workout and then they actually ate food from the restaurant afterwards. In the second example, you offered something free or low ticket, and people were happy because you provided something they needed, right? They wouldn't have signed up for it if they didn't actually need it. So I think that's great ways to grow, especially when you're starting from zero. And then also, I have to say this because I know some people won't. Do not try to sign up your mama and them, okay? If your mama and them are not your ideal clients, having them on your email list doesn't actually help you, right? It could lead to people not opening your emails or unsubscribing from your emails because they're not your client, right? So as much as I know people are like, I'm going to put my whole family on my email list and start bombarding them, I want to encourage you not to do that without asking them permission first and thinking to yourself, is this really someone that should be on my list? Because every open impacts your email deliverability, every unsubscribe impacts your email deliverability. So you want to make sure you are emailing the right people. And sometimes your mama is not your right people.
Yeah, sometimes and that actually brings an interesting sort of dynamic, which is it actually brings an example of we had did a recent event here in South Africa, and we hosted an event, and I think about maybe like 60-ish people came, 67 people, which isn't bad. We put the event on 2 weeks ago, and to get people in the room is very, as you know, can be very time consuming, even if you give away free tickets. And somebody came up to me and said, man, you have 60 people in the room. These must be all your clients. And I said, no, listen, the right people are the people that came on their own and wanted to learn about what I was teaching, right? Not the people that if somebody invited you, you said, look, you're going to come along and you don't even know what the event is about. That's not, you came along as a favor and you're not really my ideal client. So it's really important that what you said is so key. I don't want it to go over people's heads, or even it almost went over mine. Make sure that you're putting the right people, and you are having that messaging that could connect with the right people. So I love it. I love it.
Absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
and so let's get a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper, right? Because you mentioned a few strategies, and some people may know about these strategies, but I think it leads to, talking about this is multi-channel, right? Multi-channel. You're the multi-channel queen. So, you can take, because you understand the power of messaging, and then you can translate that into other channels. But a lot of people don't know about other channels because they're so used to what they hear, email, what is it, social media,
Social
all the
media.
traditional ways. But I feel like if you are going to get customers in 2004 and beyond, 2024 and beyond, I said 2004, that's when I graduated from high school. That's when I graduated from high school. If you're going to get customers in 2024 and beyond, you have to know about multi-channel. So can you kind of break down what is multi-channel marketing? Because you're the multi-channel
Absolutely.
queen. What is that?
Yes, so I'm a big advocate for do not rely on one stream, or putting all your eggs in one basket is another phrase we've used, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to marketing, you have to utilize a comprehensive marketing campaign. I tell my clients this all the time. Emails are not going to make 100% of your sales. You should not be promoting an offer only in an email, because life be life, and people miss the email, don't see the subject, don't open it, be
Yeah.
busy. Your email goes to spam. Like, so many things can impact an email actually getting in front of the person who you want to buy. In addition to that, we all know, we've been in this business a while, that 5 to 7 touches is normally the minimum
Yeah.
required before somebody will even pay for an offer. And we're talking about like sometimes $47 offers, $97 offers. So let's not even talk about if you have a 5 or 6 figure offer and you're trying to get people to that end game, right? So I always tell people, we need to have multiple streams where we are saying the same messaging, but we're doing it slightly different, and we're catering to the platform that we are on. So, for example, Instagram, although it started out as a picture app, right, where we used to showcase all our pictures and our great life, it has now really turned into a video, 30 seconds or less, short reel platform. Not as short as TikTok, but you see where I'm going with this, right? So Instagram is where you may want to, for 30 seconds to a minute, showcase your expertise in with a hook at the beginning, a tip at the end, and then a call to action like join my email list. The goal is to use that platform for what it's known for, but then get people from that platform to your real estate, which is your email list. That's where you own it, that's where you control it. Getting them from that platform is so critical, because now you can message them as much or as little as you want. You can message them when Instagram goes down, which happened quite a few times last year, and people still made money because they literally created emails that was like, Instagram is down, but I'm still up, right? The other thing is, there's other ways you can be in people's DMs. You can take action based on their action. So now with ManyChat and other apps out there, if someone likes, comments, or says a certain word on one of your posts, they can get an automated DM message that links them to your free webinar, your email list, your offer that you were talking about in that post, but continues to get a person to go deeper and deeper into your funnel. And they're doing all of this on their phone, which is like, now that's the creme de la creme, right? So if you have the attention of someone on their phone, you could be using SMS as well, because some people will check a text message over an email because their phone is always in their hand. And I just named 3 channels, but you also have LinkedIn, you have WhatsApp, you have your website. You should always have some real estate on the internet. It's your website where people can go and check you out and figure out, is this a real business? What does this person do? What's their mission? But all of this needs to work together. And so with my clients, a lot of times what I'll do is I will take their social media content that shows you a little bit about them, and I will turn that into an engaging storytelling based email, because we have already known statistically stories, really good stories, will captivate people's attention, but will also encourage them to remember who you are. So when you have something on social that you turn into an email that's also a story, that's 2 touch points that help somebody remember when they're looking for the GOAT. right? For teaching me how to monetize my community. They're going to be like, oh, Justin, he the GOAT. Like I've seen on his social media that he does this. And then I got an email where he just launched this university. I think I need to go look him up on his website to confirm if his offer is what I'm looking for. Now I've seen him. He looks like he's legit. Let me dive in. Right. So whenever you launch a campaign, which you should always be launching, make sure that you are sending similar messages on every channel to attract the ideal client. But try not to use the same thing, right? We don't want it to get stale. We don't want people to get bored and be like, oh, I already saw that. Try to vary it up a bit so that the attention span that we have these days still maintains that attention on you. But that's what it really means to be multi-channel, to think outside the box, to think of how can you leverage an existing platform for what it is known for doing. Don't try to do stuff on TikTok that really should be done on LinkedIn because that just doesn't make sense. It's not going to resonate with people. And then whatever you do, try to get people off that platform. Try to get people away from what you don't own into something you do own. And that really helps push sales across the board. Because, for example, for some people, depending on the strength of your email list, you might want to set goals for each platform. Maybe email brings in 10% of the sales, social media brings in 6 to 20% of the sales, and then you set different goals like that. And then
That's good.
maybe
That's
you
really good.
put yeah, and then you put a lot more emphasis on your live engagement with your audience. So like lately, because sometimes email don't be working, I have noticed a lot better conversion from my clients in live webinars and settings because the person can see them in real time, ask questions in real time, and show and see the expertise. So we've created systems where the webinar is meant to bring in 90% of the sales, and then the other platforms will bring in the other 10 or 80-20 or however you want to do it. But you have to constantly be thinking, can I tell my same story in different ways based on the platform that the person is found, right? Like go to where they are, go to the people.
I love it. I love it. That's fire. That's fire. Yeah, because I think, it was I remember it kind of reminds me of a story years ago. I was doing a big product launch and I had just launched a product called Script Engage. And it was a copywriting software. This is like circa 2014. It wasn't AI. Y'all got it easy, easier now, where you could go to AI tools and have copy tools. But I'll never forget, it was actually where you inputted the copy, just answer us a few questions, and then we would fill in the blanks. So it was more manual, but it was still easy for people. And I remember when I launched that product, we had tried ads, it didn't work. We tried email, it didn't work. And then we had did an affiliate marketing campaign, and we start going to different people and say, hey, you can earn commission. So that's multi-channel. I literally took the same concept, went over to affiliates, and we had that year, we had did almost shy of $1 million. We did a bunch of, like, we had 1 million people that hit our site from traffic that we didn't even have to rank on SEO. We didn't have to do all the complicated stuff. So I think the thing is, don't just think inside the box of what you heard, like the traditional Facebook ads, even email or just text messages. Think about other things. The other thing too is, like I was telling you, are you aware is your business set up internationally, right? Like we are getting more into WhatsApp marketing, which is, because I think there's 1 billion users or something along those lines on WhatsApp. A billion people use WhatsApp. How many people do you know, Acquania, that you could go and be like, have you guys used a WhatsApp marketing for your business? I can guarantee you that you probably won't find one or two in the audience. Maybe one or two might say, oh, you have a WhatsApp number. No, are you actually driving your customers to WhatsApp and actually marketing to them? So it's another channel. All right.
Yeah, no, that's really, really good. And most people don't know this, but that's another arm of Facebook, right? Or Meta, another arm of Meta. So like you have to take into your mind, like, where is Meta? where is TikTok? And if these people are getting into those industries, maybe I should be there too because they see where
Yeah.
the money is, right? And then don't be afraid to explore new platforms. I have definitely had to get out of my comfort zone in the last 6 months because it's just changing rapidly. You have to get a little more innovative with email. You're competing against millions of emails that are sent every day. Google and Yahoo are constantly changing the criteria to even put emails in an inbox versus a spam box, and you have to make sure you're on top of the tech to know that your email is getting where it needs to get. So you have to think first what is going to get someone's attention. So make sure you have a fire subject line, because I don't open emails that don't sound intriguing to me, and most people are the same way. But once you get them to open it, then you have to have something that keeps them engaged so that they actually click on whatever you're asking them to click on, whether it's signing up for your webinar, subscribing to your, future coming product that you want them to get on a wait list for, or whatever it is that you're doing. Because once they open it, you've done the first part, but you have to keep them engaged. Otherwise, they're not going to open up the next email. So it's really important to be innovative. But I also think you're right. Like, in the US, we are so focused on Facebook ads, Facebook ads, Facebook ads, but there's money in other spaces. And I have actually had clients who've done really well with LinkedIn ads, TikTok
Mhm.
ads, which are TikTok is even better because organically speaking, they still put you out in front of a lot of audiences you probably normally wouldn't find. And they're not like controlling the algorithm as much as and Instagram does these days. So that's just another way to kind of think outside the box. And I like what you taught us too, Justin, is that like you don't have to have a $1 million budget off the top, right? Like let's just start small, ease our way into increasing the budget based on the results, right? But just giving it a try so that you can say this worked, this didn't work. Testing. I love testing. That's like one of the things I do most. I test email subject lines. I
Mhm.
test delivery of what time I send stuff. I test hooks. I test content. Like, do people like my family based content better than my business based content? And if
Mhm.
so, how can I combine them? I have one business owner, eight-figure business owner, but people love to see his family way more than they love to see him, right? So what has he done? He's done a lot of B-roll of his son doing stuff with him and then using that B-roll to talk about investing.
Mhm.
So you bring together the topic you're known for, but you're giving people the visuals they want. And so,
Exactly.
right, like getting creative, thinking outside the box, and literally doing what works. If you look at his stats, when he's just him talking, he might get, a couple thousand views. Great, great, great. But when his son is in the video, it's like 1 million views. And you're just like, okay, well, then we need to have more children in the video. Like, let's make this happen. So try to, within your comfort level, try to think in that way. And analytics are key. You can't grow and change what you're not measuring. And I know so many people are not even looking at their analytics, but that's key, right? You want to know who's clicking, you want to know who's unsubscribing, but don't be afraid if people unsubscribe. I always tell people if they don't want your emails anymore, that's great. That person's not your person. You want to get them off your list as soon as possible because they're holding down your stats. And when you free them, you actually do better, right? Google says, oh, this person's emailing the people who actually want to hear from them. Let's get their email to more people. So don't let unsubscribes, drive you crazy, but pay attention to them. If you have a crazy amount of unsubscribes from one content, then maybe don't do that content again. Like, for example, it is an election year in the United States. And I tested out a topic about politics in one of my audiences. And I didn't even talk about politics. I actually was talking about the net worth of some of the candidates and how they built that wealth. And that email had people reply to it with their commentary. It had a high open rate and a really interesting and engaging response, but it wasn't the best content for that audience. So we tested it and we said, okay, you know what? These people don't like politics, even if we don't talk politics and we mention it. So we're not going to mention it anymore. Right. So those are the things that you can kind of test out. And then once you get the data, you can make informed decisions about what you put on social, email, LinkedIn, TikTok, DMs, WhatsApp moving forward.
I love it. Woo! I hope y'all taking notes. It was a lot of fire dropped up in this. So I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So I got a couple, I call these rapid questions, right?
Ooh,
So
okay.
these are called rapid questions. So these are like you answer them really quickly, like they're like elevator sort of questions. Like if I was in
Okay.
the elevator with you and we introduced ourselves and I was like, "Oh, you do so and so. Can you tell me?" And literally both of us are about to hop out the elevator, about to get in the Uber. So these are like rapid fire questions, right? And I think, this will help a lot of people. So if I were in the elevator and I said, "I'm talking to the multi-channel queen," right? And I said, "Oh, you do multi-channel marketing. I'm familiar with that." What would you say are the top 3 channels right now as a business owner I should be testing in my business? The top 3.
Ooh. LinkedIn,
Mhm.
Instagram, and TikTok.
Okay. Top 3.
And I say that because those are the one. LinkedIn has more power than you think, but it does depend on your business. If you're a client-based services business, people on LinkedIn have jobs and money. So that's where you want to go to find them. And people have been sleeping on LinkedIn for a minute, but they are actually really good. And you can go live on LinkedIn. You can schedule things on LinkedIn. So I've had some really good success in that space for the service-based products and business side.
Mhm.
TikTok, because it's just so easy to get into the algorithm and go viral, as long as you have value in 30 seconds or less. And Instagram continues to be my favorite place to play. But people are still on Facebook too, believe it or not. I don't particularly love it because once my mama took over Facebook, I sort of lost interest. But it is definitely still worldwide reputable platform where people are looking up businesses and following what you're doing. So I
I love
said 4, but my top are LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram.
Okay, got you. Okay, love it. If I were to say, I'm not even, it doesn't even matter age, doesn't matter I'm a young entrepreneur, old entrepreneur. You started your business, you're a creator, right? You're considered a creator. What would you say the biggest lesson in the last decade that you've learned? If you had to boil it down to one core lesson, I know there's millions of them, but one key lesson, your number one key lesson as a creator, entrepreneur, what would that be? What is that number one lesson?
Mm. It takes money to make money.
Okay, tell me
And
about.
when I was finally when I got over the fear of having to pay someone else to help me run my business, I made way more money because I had someone to take care of emails, admin, and time consuming tasks that the CEO really shouldn't have to focus on. And that helped me focus on strategy and money making opportunities and finding clients who would pay me. And I got my first virtual assistant in 2020. And I tell you, that was my first year, 6-figure year. And it just went up from there. So don't be afraid to hire help. And you don't have to hire employees. You can have contractors. You can get people to do temporary short-term job projects for you. So you also don't have to feel like you have to hire someone indefinitely. You can hire someone for project specific work, get the paycheck to come in, pay them for their part of it, and then move on to the next one. But getting over the fear of having to pay someone else allowed me to focus on more money opportunities, and then my business just shot up from there.
Okay.
Don't try to do all the things. That's my thing. Don't try to do all the
No,
things.
do not try to do all the things. You will get burnt out so fast that your head
Mhm.
will spin. So, okay, I love it. Last question. I usually say, what is the top 3 books? But I think that's so general, right? Because I feel like there's one core book that you've read that has made the most impact. So, what's the number one book that you would recommend that you've read more than once?
Ooh, I don't know if I read it. Well, I
Or
don't know
maybe
if I.
Okay, if you haven't read a book more than once, I've read one book. I always tell people the 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50.
Mm,
I've read that book 10 times, right? I've
okay.
listened to it 20 times, like crazy amount of times. It changed my life. What would you say is a book that if you haven't read it once, you've either recommended it more than
Oh,
once?
yes. Oh, I have plenty of books I've recommended more than once. I just finished one. I think her name is Jenny Allen. I'm really bad with names, but Jenny Allen, but it's like getting out of your head and stopping toxic thoughts. Because as an entrepreneur, we put a lot of things in our head about what can go wrong, what can go right. But this book helps you focus on thinking positively and according to how God thinks of you, and what scriptures to actually read and say and think to replace toxic thoughts. And it's such a powerful book because one, first, she walks you through why we have these things. Why do we think bad things? Why do we go from 0 to 60? But then she gives you the tools to recorrect, remap that thinking. I recommended that book to so many people while I was reading it. And then there's like a journal that goes with it too that I actually want to do. So if I do reread a book, that's probably going to be the one I reread. But it's definitely the one I've read recently and have recommended to tons of people.
I love it. All right, I love it. So, this has been insightful, but more importantly, like if you are watching this, make sure you show some love, comment below. Make sure that you follow Acquania, which is the next thing, the call to action. Tell people where they can actually find you if they want to learn about multi-channel marketing, email marketing, the whole gambit. Where would they find you and how could they find out more about you?
Of course, check me out on Instagram. That's my favorite place to play, at the purpose of money, at the purpose of money. Don't forget the D. Or check me out on my website, thepurposeofmoney.com, where you can set up a free consultation. We can chat. But those are my favorite places to chill. And I would love for you to follow me and hang out a bit. And let's get to talking in the DMs.
I love it. I love it. Thanks so much for being on. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Creator Series. Make sure that you take just one strategy, right? Make sure that you pull something out of this. And one of my favorite things to do, as you guys always hear me talk about, there's so much that we're learning. There's so many YouTube videos, there's so many training videos, there's so many courses. But I recommend, especially we'll probably have this on YouTube, download the GASP, that's GASP plugin, take the transcript, put this into something like Claude.ai or even ChatGPT and say, summarize this for me so you can keep learning. There was so many gems. Watch this over and over. That's how you master things. That's one of my learning hacks, Acquania, I love. I love to take, it's just too many videos. Sometimes I don't fully watch the video, but if I know like there's gems, I usually take that plugin, put it into Claude.ai, say, summarize this for me, and create an action plan for me based on my business from this video. So then Claude would take what we talked about and then put an action step. So that's how you level up. That's how you go to different things. People don't think about stuff like that. And it's amazing. All right. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Peace.